Hello there, and welcome back to another little snippet of information which I hope is going to be really helpful to you on your journey to eating a more healthy diet. Today I want to talk to you about fibre. Some of you are going to be thinking straight away she's going to go on about poo in a minute, which I am, but bear with because there's some other interesting facts too. So fibre, why do lots of people talk about it? Why is it a hot topic? I think it's always going to be a hot topic in nutrition, and there's a lot of research coming out at the moment about the bacteria that live in our guts. We call it the microbiome. So this has kind of rejuvenated the interest in fibre. Now, fibre is a massive part of a plant-based diet. So most of our fibre sources that we can eat will be coming from plants. They'll be coming from fruit, vegetables, grains, seeds, legumes, that kind of thing. So those are all good sources of fibre. Now, the interesting thing about fibre is that its impact on our digestion is twofold. And that I want to explore in a little moment is related to the two different kinds of fibre that we talk about. But first of all, it's really reiterating the point today that in the Western world, it's estimated that we don't even really scratch the surface of what we should be eating in terms of our daily fibre intake. We should be aiming for 25 to 30 grams of fibre every day. And the suggestion is that most of us, not even getting to half of that. The impact of that are an increased risk of high blood cholesterol, increased risk of dodgy blood sugars, and therefore increased risk of diabetes. It has a big impact on our cardiovascular health, and unfortunately a rise in the incidence of colon cancer and some breast cancers as well. So, this is important stuff, and this is one of those things we can make a big difference to our health moving forwards by just being a little bit more careful about what we eat. And being a little bit more careful about what we eat doesn't sound that difficult if the consequence of that is massively reducing our risk of cancers, and the impact that has not only on our health, but the impact that has for our family, for our friends, the hole you're going to leave in someone's life. Just a thought, really. So there are two types of fibre. I touched on this a moment ago. We have soluble fibre. So soluble fibre, as it kind of suggests from the name, is soluble in water. And these are things like the gums and the pectins that you find in fruit and vegetables. So when they dissolve in water, they form a sort of gummy jelly kind of consistency. And that helps food to move through our digestive system. It actually helps our digestive system in that respect. It helps our digestive transit. The other really important fibre is insoluble fibre. And this is all the celluloses and hemicelluloses, the kind of bulky stuff that we get in our food. As it sounds, it doesn't dissolve in water, but what it does do as it passes through our digestive system, particularly when it gets to our colon, our large intestine, is that it draws water back in. So that means that when we want to go for a poo, ideally it will be soft, it will be easy to pass, and we won't get that horrible, painful, constipated feeling. So as I said, the best way to increase your fibre all round is to increase your consumption of fruit and vegetables. And for most people, unless you have some kind of inflammatory gut condition, this is the best way to increase your fibre. Now, I want to go back and talk just briefly about fibre and our microbiome. Now, I'm going to try not to go into microbiologist mode and kind of go all out with my gut bacteria here, but fibre is a really important prebiotic. Now, you've probably heard of probiotics, which seed your system with these good bacteria. But prebiotics are the kind of things that we can eat, which will then feed that microbiome. It will feed those good bacteria. Now, our body can't digest these kind of prebiotic fibres. They pass through our stomach, through our small intestine, and get all the way to our large intestine, where most of our microbiome bacteria are, pretty much undigested. But then the good bacteria can have a field day because they're like, whoa, this is absolutely amazing. And one of the really important things that they can do is digest that insoluble fibre and produce an anti-inflammatory compound called butyrate. That anti-inflammatory compound can really help to keep our gut healthy, and it also helps to keep our gut wall intact. What we don't want is to have a leaky gut wall, because if you do, undigested or partially digested food passes through your gut into your blood, and that's when we start to mount an immune response, and that's when food intolerances can become a bit of a problem. So 2 of these particular prebiotic fibres to mention. Inulin is one of the best known prebiotic forms. Where can we find that? We'll look for it in onions, garlic and leeks. So that's one particular group of vegetables that all go together. Chicory. I find that's like love it or hate it kind of domain, don't you? Bit like earwax. If you don't like bitter foods, I'd leave the chicory out if I were you. Maybe artichokes are more your kind of thing, or asparagus, or bananas are really high in inulin, so that might be a better choice. Resistant starch, that is another kind of prebiotic fibre. As it sounds, resistant starch, it's not going to get digested as it passes all the way through your system. And this is the fibre that you can find in grain, in seeds and in legumes, so nuts, and not nuts, beans and peas and pulses. And actually, interestingly, they found that you can find it in cooked and cooled rice and pasta. So as long as you're careful about the way you reheat it if you're going to, or if you eat it cold, those 2 are great sources of resistant starch. So good fibre that's going to feed your gut bacteria. So apart from that, other good fibre sources could be things like barley. Oats are a really good fibre source. And when I say oats, I don't mean like the powdered nastiness, the ready bread kind of stuff. Other instant porridges are available. I'm talking proper rolled oats. So oats that have literally been bashed and smashed, and that's what you use to make your porridge. I eat gluten-free oats, and the reason that I do that is because you get oat in the packet. You don't get a whole load of flour as well. And if you mix flour and liquid together, you get something that resembles glue. So if you struggle to eat your porridge, it might be worth switching to gluten-free oats, which is just oats in the packet. Reduces down the chances of contaminants, and it might just be better tolerated by your gut. But other great sources, 2 other sources to mention, flax seeds. Flax seeds are a really great source of fibre. You can buy flaxseed milled from pretty much every supermarket around and about the place now. Even your sort of cheaper German budget supermarkets have got milled seed in them. So flax seeds are a great source, and they're also full of important minerals and good fats too. And your top fruit, I would say, if you want to ramp up your fibre, apple a day. Keeps the doctor at bay. So I hope those things have been really helpful to you. Ramp up your fibre. 25 to 30 grams a day. Good gut health, happy gut bacteria. Decrease your risk of all those things. Stick around for years to come.